Blessed be everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. Welcome to the Mystery Witch School. And we have a new year ahead of us and an exciting year, I'm sure, as all the years have been. So today we are talking about manifestation and goals and spell work, getting you ready for the year because you probably already have goals that you've decided you want to have this year. So we'll talk about how you can utilize goal setting and your magic at the same time. Hello, Luciano. I'm wondering if you're still there because you came on just before we went on. Say hello if you're in the chat as we go along. If you're watching the replay, welcome to the replay. Welcome to those of you who are also new to the channel. Welcome to Mystery Witch School. On this channel, we talk about all things Wicca, witchcraft, magic, tarot, and shadow work. So if you're interested in any of those topics, do have a look at the channel. There's heaps of videos on those topics. They are divided into playlists, so it does make it easier for you to get into one topic and binge watch that if you're looking for something to binge watch. I've been doing this now since about 2018, I think. So there's quite a few videos now on this channel. Welcome, Sandy. Welcome, Swak Fan. How are you? Merry meet. Lots of New Year's blessings to you all as well. Now, just to let you know, there's some freebies today. We're talking about spells. So I have a free PDF. It's called the Spellcaster Checklist. You can get that by going down to the description field below this video, and you will be able to find it there under the freebies heading. And also on my website, mysterywitchschool.com, you'll be able to find my freebies on a freebies tab there as well. And the Spellcaster Checklist will be one of those freebies. So I'm just going to go and find the link for you in the chat. Spellcaster Checklist. Okay. So, have you got big goals for 2025? What spells are you thinking of working on in 2025? If you want to share, please share. If you need any help with anything, just let me know in the chat or in the comments if you're watching the replay. Okay, I think that's all I need to say for now. I'll tell you more about how you can learn magic with me and how you can join the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy towards the end of the live. And I'm just going to keep an eye on it to see that hopefully YouTube won't put any ads in the middle of it. I don't think I have control over that anymore. I think they've taken that control away from us. So sorry if there's any ads that appear in the middle of the live. Not a lot I can do about that, unfortunately. Okay, I'm just going to go to my notes. So we're talking about manifesting your magical goals, which is basically spell casting, and the things that will help you to become a better spellcaster and to understand what spellcasting is all about, how you can improve your spellcasting, and get the results that you're wanting to get. Now, a question that I have for you, and I'd love to hear your comments in the chat or also in the comments field if you're watching the replay. What drew you to magic in the first place? What drew you to the craft in the first place? Was it the magic? Was it the connection to nature? Was it wanting to feel more unified and at one with nature, connecting more to spirit, connecting more to our history with the deities? What is it that attracted you to the craft in the first place? So I'd love to hear what your answers are to that. Luciano says, have you had a chance to watch a movie, The Last Witch Hunter? No, I haven't. I haven't actually watched any movies for a long time, actually. So I've been missing out on movies probably over the last couple of years, actually. I haven't really been seeing any. But I have been getting into reading fiction lately, which is something I have not done for many, many, many years. Okay. So when you're talking about magical goals, I mean, what is a magical goal? The goal is simply your outcome? What do you want your magic to do for you? What is the purpose of your spell? And that will give you your goal. Now, you can approach magic the same way you approach other goal setting. You can use the SMART uh, technique of goal setting. I'll talk a little bit about how you could incorporate that into your goal setting spell casting as well, and make it a little bit more relevant to magic, and also how magic can be a lot more expansive than just our normal intellectual goal setting is. And the difference between intellectual goal setting and magic is that there's a much broader view of how things can happen. There's much more of a letting go and a balance between will and surrender. So it's a balance between the yin and the yang, the active and the passive side of your nature and of the polarity that we live in. And magic is about balancing the will and the receiving aspect, or the active and the passive aspects, into a balance of that yin and yang energy. So we'll talk about that as well. Okay, Luciana says that's what got me into witchcraft. Oh, awesome. Connection to nature. Hi, J Dog. Merry meet. So your desire is your goal. Okay, now your goal might be a very big goal. It could be something that is more long term. It could be something that does require a lot of action, or a lot of steps along the way, or it could just be something that can happen quite quickly. Spells differ. There can be little spells or big spells, long-term spells, more short-term spells. It really depends on what it is that you're wanting. But if you're not clear about what your goal is, if you're a bit fuzzy about it, or you can't get a real clear vision of it, then you need to work on that aspect first. You need to be very clear about what your desire is and why you want it. What is the purpose of your goal? What is it going to fulfill in your life? Because to bring it into manifestation, you have to have feeling for it. And you have to be able to feel what it is you would feel once it's manifested to be able to do the magic. So it does require you to have clarity around your goal. You don't need to know how it's going to happen. That isn't something you need to know. What you do need to know is what it is you want to have happen. Now, you may have a bit more of a general goal. You may not be that fussy about it. The detail might not be important to you, but try to get as much detail as you can, because that's going to help you visualize it or bring it into your imagination. And the clearer you can be in your imagination, the easier it's going to be able to feel into the experience of having that goal before it's manifested. And that will help your magic manifest so much faster and better. So let's talk about, I've got this method that I love to use, and this is in the Mystery Witch School 101. I've also got this, I think, in some of my other courses, like the Ultimate Guide to Starting a Wiccan Practice That Works, that basically just gets you clear, first and foremost, about why you're in the practice in the first place. And you can apply this questioning to your spell casting and any goal that you have at the same time. So if you've got an intention, you've got something you're wanting to do magic for right here, right now, grab a pen and paper or type it in. And you might not have time to answer these questions, but I'll give you some guidance. So later, after the live is over, you can go in and answer these questions. And the first one is, what do I truly desire and why? And the way you answer that question is to let yourself write for about 3 to 5 minutes without thinking too much about what it is that you're writing. Don't worry about the spelling. Don't worry about the grammar. Just write. Just allow yourself to answer that question. What is it that I truly desire and why? And this first questioning is going to give you the surface reason why you want something. and what it is that you want. Now, some desires are going to be very, very clear to you right away, and you may not have to do this process, but other desires could be a little fuzzy, particularly if you're looking at things more long term or big goals that seem like they're not something you could achieve, or they're things that you know may take a lot of other steps and maybe other smaller spell castings along the way. It doesn't matter how big your goal is, you can do this process to really understand your motive behind doing the goal and behind wanting the desire, and it can help give you that clarity, and it will help you in your spell casting. It will give you really valuable information that you're going to need in your spell casting. So you write about what it is you truly desire and why for about 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how big it is. And then the next question, question number 2, is what do I really, really want and why? And then do the same process again. So this is to help find another layer of what your true motivation is when it comes to your spell casting. The true motivation is, you're going to find out if you do this method of questioning, that the true motivation is to do with feeling. And you really need to understand what that feeling is. And this is how you can get to that feeling. Hi, Joseph. So what do I really, really want and why? Why do I want it? What is it about this thing that I feel is going to be a good thing for me? Okay. Or if you're doing a spell for someone else, the same motivation. Why do I want to do this spell for someone else? What's the motive behind it? And then after you've answered that question, the third question is, what do I really, really, really want and why? So you're starting to get into the more of what it is you're really, really, really wanting. And often that's not the same thing as what you started with in the first question. You're starting to get deeper into your motivation or your reason for wanting something. Now, you might want a car, for example, a better car. And why do you want the car? Oh, because I'd like to get around. I'd like to be able to go places, and a car is a great way to get to places and have a bit of independence and not have to rely on public transport, all of that kind of thing. But what do you really, really want the car for? What is it that you really, really, really want? And you might focus more on into this ability to have the freedom to be able to just get up and go somewhere and not have to worry about, when's the train coming, when's the bus, connecting things. Just to know that you can jump in the car and go, that sense of freedom that having a car can give you. And then what do I really, really, really want when it comes to the car? And you may find that there's even deeper reasons. You may just want to have the car to be able to go on longer distances, to be able to travel somewhere. It can just help you get that little bit deeper. A car probably isn't going to get you into this really deep understanding of yourself and the deep and meaningfuls, but you will find that there's probably a lot more reasons why you want a car than what you thought you did in the first place. And when you realize that, hey, I like the freedom of having the car, I like the convenience of having the car, just being able to get in and go places, that will help you in your spell casting when you're doing the spell for the car. And you start imagining yourself in the car, you start imagining yourself driving the car and just getting in and going when you need to go somewhere or want to go somewhere, and you start to live that in your imagination and feel that in your body when you're doing the spell casting, and that's going to make your spell so much more powerful. My TV broke. That's what I want. So a new TV. Okay, well, what is it? What do you really want a TV for? And list, what do you want television for? Obviously, the most first things are, to watch things, to watch shows, to whatever things you like to watch, entertainment, distraction, that kind of thing. You may find that there's deeper meanings behind wanting a television too. Sometimes a television is for company, for people who live by themselves. Sometimes it's just to relax and to be able to not have to focus on other things. Learn about yourself. When you're doing spell casting and you're looking at your goals, you're learning about you. You're learning about what motivates you to do things, what things are important to you in your life. And you'll discover when you do this exercise what's important to you. Because a lot of the time we don't really know what's important To us, we just know that, okay, I need a new television, I need a car, I need this or I need that, or I want this or I want that. But why are these things important to us? And it tells you a lot about yourself, and it's a way of learning about yourself. And then the last question is, if I knew that I could be 100% successful with my spell, what do I really, really, really want? So if you knew you were going to be successful with your spell, what is it you really, 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 really want? And that will often lead you to more about feeling. I want to feel free. I want to feel relaxed. I want to feel whatever it is that you're wanting to feel by having what it is that you want to have. And another question you can ask yourself is, and you don't have to do this for everything, but how does what I want align with my spiritual goals or my spiritual practice or my philosophy about life? How does this align with it? How is this helping it? In those kinds of questions are really good to ask to get that clear understanding of what your goal is and what it is you're really wanting to achieve. Now, a spell for a television is probably one of those things that you can manifest reasonably quickly. So you may not have to do a lot of work on manifesting a television, but other goals you may need to work on. And when you get these questions answered and you understand your motivation behind it, always look for an emotional reason. I want to feel safe. I want to feel secure. I want to feel free. I want to feel I have choices. I want to feel happy. I want to feel joy. I want to feel love. I want to feel like I never have to worry about money ever again. It's there when I need it. All of those things are feelings. And that's what we need when we're doing our spell work, those feelings. So if you're using the normal goal setting technique, the first one is to be specific, which is what we're trying to do by answering these questions. So if you're looking at a job, uh, what kind of job do you want? You may want the job because you need money. That might be the only motivation for having a job, and I totally get that. But if you're going to be spending most of your time uh, in a job, what about a job that's actually going to be something you don't mind doing or enjoy doing? Think beyond the need for a job to give you an income, a job to give you whatever it is you're wanting from the job. What else do you want from the job besides money? Because a job for money is a money spell, essentially. So you'd be better off focusing on a money spell and seeing what comes to you from that. A job may come to you from that. A business idea might come to you from that. What is it you're really wanting here? And if it is a job, what is it about a job or the job that you want? Why do you want that? How's it going to make you feel? How do you expect to feel once you get that? And just really understand where your motivation is coming from. And this will help you fine tune your spell so that you know what type of spell to do. If you want a job for a number of different reasons, not just for the money, but you're wanting it because you want to do something with your time that's productive, that's bringing you an income, so that you're sort of maybe doing a few different things at once. You're satisfying your income needs. You might be satisfying your interests, as well as feeling like you're doing something useful in the world or whatever it is. If you do this process, you'll understand what's important about the job and that it's more than just the money. And you'll discover so much more about yourself and your motivations through doing these kinds of exercises. So getting specific is incredibly helpful to you. Okay, a dream walker. A dream walker, do you know what it means when I sleep? Dream walking generally means somebody going into and influencing somebody else's dream. That's the interpretation that I'm aware of. So people sometimes who are very good at either astral traveling or very good at working uh, with within sort of consciousness or very good at telepathic things, and this is something that they work at to become very good at it, can sometimes go in and influence other people's dreams. So that's generally what a dream walker is they're walking in other people's dreams, which is incredibly rude. And not it's an experience I've actually had of somebody doing it to me, and I was was not happy about it, believe me. So I did a lot of work to stop them from doing that. But yes, it does happen, and people can do it, and they're trying to influence you through dreaming. So it's a form of coercive persuasion, I guess. They're trying to influence your dream and put themselves somehow in your dream to be able to manipulate you in some way. Okay, so stay out of my dreams, please. Yes, yes. I know other people who've had similar experiences as well, and it's very rude. It's incredibly bad etiquette when it comes to the occult practices. And I think when I had the experience, it was certainly an awakening for me to not trust that person ever again, because they were showing incredibly bad etiquette by doing that. And I just thought, that's it. I'm having nothing more to do with this person. You can't trust them. Okay, there are specific spells to keep people out of your dreams. Yes, yes, you can do spells, you can do protection magic around you. So I did that. I basically just did the pentagram at the door. So before I went to bed, I drew a pentagram at the door of the bedroom. I also, at that time, I mean, this is going way back now. I don't know how long ago it was, probably back in 2010, I think it was. Yeah. I was also doing the invocation of the pentagram. So rather than the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, I was actually doing the invocation ritual of the pentagram to protect me. And I was also calling in the archangels at the quarters as well, and also doing a pentagram at the door. And when they tried to do it again, they couldn't get through the door because the pentagram was there. But instead of looking like a pentagram, it was like a spiral of energy, or a vortex of energy. And the person even was trying to send something through the vortex for me to grab onto so that they could get in. So that's how powerful some people can be when they practice that kind of stuff. But that's a good way to protect yourself, using the pentagram energy, working with the archangels, and drawing an energetic pentagram on your doors or on your windows, because they symbolize entry, and stopping them that way. And it does work. Okay, I was thinking the lesser banishing ritual, but invocation makes sense. Yeah, so you're invoking for the protection while you're sleeping, and then when you get up the next day, you can then do the banishing. Okay, so back on track now. So the first letter S in the SMART goals is being specific, which is what we do when we're doing magic. Now, when it comes to your typical everyday goal setting with SMART goals, you've got M being measurable. And measurable really is about how realistic is your goal? Like if you were to just do mundane activity to achieve that goal, how easy would it be to achieve that? Have a look at that. How reasonable is it within the laws of physics to have something happen? Is it something that you can really make a change with? So there's some things in nature you can't change, for example, and trying to do a spell to change something in nature that's not changeable, like maybe mix the seasons up or something like that, unless you live in somewhere like Melbourne that gets the four seasons every day anyway. it's it's unlikely that you're going to be able to do a lot when it comes to changing the weather drastically. So how realistic is your goal in terms of the possibility of it being able to happen? Now, this doesn't mean letting all your negative beliefs come in and say, "Oh no, I can't. I could never be, wealthy, or I could never have that kind of lifestyle." That's all belief systems, and that's something you can deal with, and those spells are things to definitely go for. I'm talking more about the practicalities of things that just are the way that they are, which is not a lot of stuff, really. So, most goals that you can go for, if you really think about what you're wanting and you really sincerely want it, you can usually get there in the end. Okay. Happy New Year. I enjoy your teaching from Nigeria. Hi, Princess Nikita. Thank you. Glad you enjoy them. So, being measurable also means being able to track your progress along the way, too. So, even if your big goal or your big spell hasn't happened yet, have other things happened along the way that are showing you that things are changing? Are you having different experiences that are similar in nature to the experiences you would be having or feeling when your big goal is achieved? Are other things lining up for you in your life that are showing you that you're getting closer to the end of your goal? And just take notice of those things. And these sorts of things could be simply that maybe you are doing a spell because you want to move. And the move is something that does seem like it's a big thing because it might involve a lot of money, or it might involve things to happen, job changes, all that kind of stuff. If you start to notice different things, and you're imagining that you're in the new location and you're doing the things you would be doing in that new location, some of those things may be happening where you are now. You may be going out more, you may be meeting people more, you may be having more fun in your own place where you are now. How are things changing in your life now that are giving you an indication that things are changing? And these are things that you can note down in your journal when you're doing spells. And if you like to record your spells in a book of shadows, and then you like to maybe journal the results that you're getting as you do your magic, you know, write these things down. How are things changing? How are some of the things that you're imagining in your spell work actually happening, even if they're not happening exactly the way that you've imagined them or where you've imagined them? How are they actually happening in your life now? Is there ways that these magic's creeping in to your life in smaller, subtler ways that's leading you closer to your goal? Definitely take a note of that. Synchronicities, small manifestations along the way. Take notice of those synchronicities, the people you meet, the things you come up with, the things you see in social media. How are these things connecting to your spell and connecting to your desire? So number 3 is A, which is achievable. So this is where you sort of get into, is this something that I can achieve? Uh, what would I feel comfortable achieving? And I think we need to look at comfort zones here, because if your comfort zone is quite low, it's going to be very difficult for you to push through that comfort zone. So if you feel comfortable earning an extra $500 a month rather than an extra $5,000 a month, then work at that first, because you're more likely to achieve something you're comfortable with than something you're not comfortable with. So often, if you might have really big goals that seem to be long term goals, they seem like it could be, how on earth am I ever going to get from A to B, because it just seems impossible right now? What's the next level you could achieve? What's the next thing you could achieve that does seem to be more real to you, more probable to you? And do some spell work for that, because you're more likely to achieve that because you're feeling more comfortable with that. And then do the shadow work and all of the other work to get you more comfortable about achieving the bigger goal. And I have a lot of tapping videos on my Sandra Inman tapping channel that can help you clear any of those blocks that you might have to believing that you can achieve the things you want to achieve, that you're allowed to achieve the things you want to achieve, and that you're ready to achieve the things you want to achieve. Because sometimes we're holding ourselves back from achieving the magic because we're not really feeling ready for it yet. We're not really feeling comfortable with now, right here, right now. And that could be because there's beliefs that, oh, it's going to be hard. I've got to do all of these things. I don't feel that I could do all of that right now. You might be concerned about people judging you or criticizing you. And can be a lot of reasons why we put off our goals to later in our subconscious mind. So just be aware of where you're sitting in your comfort zone when it comes to your goal. And if you're not really comfortable with achieving it, then you can do some shadow work to help you feel more comfortable with it, and maybe aim for something that feels more comfortable to you until you get more comfortable with the result that you're really, really wanting. In a way, you could also break your goal down into smaller steps and work your way up. So you could focus on, if you're looking at wanting to move locations and move jobs, then maybe the first thing to do is to look around at other jobs in that location and work with finding things like that. R is the relevancy. So, how does your goal align with your values, with your principles? Um, how is it going to serve you? How is your goal going to serve you in your life? How is it serving what you're wanting for yourself, what you're wanting for your family, what you're wanting in life? How does this goal serve you? If it's uh, the television, how is the television serving you? How is it going to serve you? What's it going to give you? How is it going to fulfill your life? Same if you're manifesting a car, how is it going to serve you? How is it going to make your life more fulfilling in some way? Is it meaningful? Is it going to bring more meaning into your life? Or is it something that's just practical? But even the practical things are going to bring more meaning into your life in some way. Now, some people say to set a timeline when it comes to magic. And while the intellectual goals, okay, a timeline makes sense, a timeline doesn't always make sense when it comes to magical goals. And this could be because you're not really clear on the time frame, or just simply because magic does take its time. Some things have to line up, and some things take time to line up, and some things can happen almost instantaneously. So if you need a time, if you need to have something by a certain time, include that in the spell. So if it's something you've got to have this time next week, then include that in the spell. Put the date in the spell. Put the number of days it has to manifest in the spell. I want an extra $500 before Thursday. Okay. That's something to put in because it's specific, and maybe you need that for some reason, but really feel into, once again, why do you need that $500? What's the real motivation for having it, so that when you go to do the spell, you can really feel into why you're wanting it and how it's going to make you feel to have that $500 by Thursday for whatever reason. Maybe it's to pay a bill, pay the rent, or whatever. But you still want to get into how it feels to hand that money over, to get that money and then to pay the rent or to do whatever it is that you needed to do before Thursday. And how does that feel to have that accomplished? Relief, probably, and whatever else you might be feeling. Include that in your spell when you're doing the spell. Okay. Happy New Year. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Nikita. Would the moon phases be part of the timing of a manifestation spell? Yes, yes, the moon phases would be a part of timing for a manifestation spell. So if you're wanting to bring something into you or grow something or get something, you know, expanding on something, you'd want to do that during the waxing moon. If you're wanting to bring something to completion, if you're wanting to finish something, if you're wanting to contract something, then the waning moon is the time to do that. So do the spell during the new moon or dark moon to manifest on the full. Yes, you could do that. Absolutely. Uh, Or you can do a spell on the full moon to manifest before the next full moon as well. So you can play it a couple of different ways. Some people like to do them on the full moon to manifest on the next before the next full moon. Other people, because the full moon's got a lot of energy and a lot of power behind it, or you could do it on the new moon. So preferably the new moon when the first time you see the moon in the sky. So even though technically the new moon might be on a particular date, the energy of the moon's not really going to pick up until you actually start to see it in the sky. And that's a good time to actually start doing your growing spells and manifestation spells. Okay. So set a timeline if you need something by a specific time. It could be a week, it could be months. You might set a goal, like if it's a health goal, it might be a 3-monthly goal. You might want to feel healthier and stronger, within the next 3 months. So do be specific if it is something that needs to be have a date on it or have a time on it. Other goals, particularly if they're really, really big ones and you're not really feeling like you're quite there yet with really getting clear on what that's going to look like or what it's going to be. Just do the spell and allow it to manifest at the right time, at the right place. You could also put in that caveat for the good of all at the right time and the right place. So that's a way of leaving it open and just allowing the universe to work within its time frame. And if there is no time frame on it, like it's not important that you get that manifestation yesterday, then don't worry so much about putting a time limit on it. But it can help. It can certainly help. When you are imagining the end result as if it's already happened when you're doing a spell, before you do that, while you're preparing for your spell, just have a little think about how would my life be different if or when the spell manifests. How will my life be different? What would I be doing differently on a daily basis? How would I get up in the morning? How would I go to bed? What would I be doing with my day? How would it be different? And imagine yourself having that day. So if you're manifesting a car, you wake up, you get in the car because you want to go somewhere or do something. Okay. The television, you want to watch television. The television's there and you turn it on and you watch it. How does that change your life? How is that changing your day? Okay. Because you're adding something new to your day. You're adding a new routine to your day. So, what would a typical day look like when you have what it is that you're wanting? If it's love, how is your day going to be different when you have a significant other in your life? How would that be different? And just allow your imagination to go with that and allow yourself to have that. And if it's possible, actually live your life as if your manifestation has already happened. Try to incorporate as much into your daily life as you can of your behaviors and the things that you do once the goal has manifested, to bring in more of a sense of living your goal as if it's already happening. Because that is really the secret of magic. It's feeling into the wish fulfilled as if it's already happened. And it can make your magic happen faster when you do this. So that's a really important thing to think about. How's your day going to be different if the spell manifests? And that's a way to make it more powerful. Other people like to do more of the law of attraction thing where they have vision boards and they'll put things around the house, and that kind of thing. Sure, you can do that. Have pictures around the place, have a vision board if you're sort of more into the law of attraction type of thing, so that you're seeing it every day. But the thing is, you want to see it and feel it, not see it and think, oh, it hasn't manifested yet. Sometimes vision boards can be unhelpful because they can show you stuff that just hasn't manifested yet, or every time you look at it, you may be thinking, I can never achieve that. So it really just depends on what your relationship is with the vision board as to whether it's going to be helpful to you or harmful to you. In magic, we tend to not put things around to remind ourselves of our magic. We tend to do the spell and then we let it go, and we dispose of the materials of the spell to send it out into the universe as a representation of letting it go and not holding on to it. So that's more of a magical approach to it. Okay. For example, how can I register in this class? So I've got a few different classes, so I'll let you know at the end, Nikita, what you can do and how you can join up. For example, the new moon, full moon is like asking what came first, the chicken or the egg. Yes. So the new moon is greater for growing things. As the moon grows in strength, your energy is growing, the power of the spell is growing. Okay. For a full moon, it's like really hitting it hard and using that energy of the full moon and then allowing things to happen within that month. So there's different approaches. I've used both. And look, they both work. So it really just depends on what you're feeling at the time, and go with that. Go with your intuition and what makes sense to you intuitively for those things. Okay. So when it does come to spell casting, I mentioned the spellcaster checklist at the beginning, so you could still download that. There's a link in the description field below this video for how you can grab yourself a copy of the spellcaster checklist. And there's also on my website under the freebies tab, you can also grab the spellcaster checklist. So that talks a lot about intention and clarity and the importance of it, and the questions to ask yourself as you're planning your spell. So that just gives you things to think about and to tick off as you're doing the spell casting. If you're wanting to take your spell casting to the next level and actually learn how to cast spells well, I do have a course called The Witch's Guide to Magic. It's a 5-module course. You do it in your own time, and it focuses on 4 key areas of spell casting, and that's love and romance, money, success, health and healing, and also protection and defense magic, because all of those magics have different aspects to them that you will resonate with more than others. And what going into each of those types or topics of magic is about is to get you to understand why you might be really good at one and not so good at the other, and what you can do about it. So it goes into a lot of detail about intention, the power of intention, about feeling into the wish fulfilled, and how to cast spells. There's 100 different spells there. They're really simple spells that don't require a lot of materials. I focus mostly on herbs, crystal, and candle magic there, so that it's really, really, really simple, all of the spells that are in that. So it's the Witch's Guide to Magic. I'll put a link there's already a link in the description field below this video. There's also a link here in the chat. And you can also go to my website, mysterywitchschool.com, go under the courses tab, and you'll find it there as well. If witchcraft is something that you're wanting to pursue more as a spiritual path as well as a magical path, and you're wanting to bring more connection to yourself, to nature, to the divine, and really live your life on a more of a spiritual level, more of a metaphysical level, rather than getting caught up in sort of the mundane aspect of feeling disconnected from everything, feeling disconnected from yourself, disconnected from others, then the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy is the place to go for that, because that's a 12-month course. And within that course, you do learn all of the other aspects of witchcraft, like energy work, creating circles, the tools, working with the sabbats, working with the lunar energies, working with various different deities, as well as exploring more of yourself and your connection to self, as well as your practices. And with the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy comes the Witch's Guide to Magic as a bonus. So it's a good way to get 2 courses for the price of 1, in other words. So that's the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. And that's the very first course that I ever created, actually. So it's an oldie, but it is a great place to start. Okay. And anything else I wanted to say? I should have said this at the beginning. There's super thanks there if you wanted to donate to the channel, or also super chat. And I do have a PayPal me too if anybody wants to donate and help support the channel too. So I hope everybody has a wonderful year. This year is going to be interesting astrologically. There's going to be a lot happening, particularly in probably the first half or so of the year. So allow yourself to really hone in on your spiritual practice, focus on the things you want to manifest this year, and try not to get caught up in all of the distractions that are going on in the world around us that are there to distract and to cause people to feel into the fear and to go into those lower vibrations of uh, fear and loss and anger and all of those things. Really learn to focus on what you want to create in your life and on creating that and feeling into it, even if it hasn't physically manifested yet. And to follow your path, follow your spiritual path, get connected to yourself, get connected to nature, learn about yourself, understand yourself so that you're not a puppet on the string getting pulled by all of these external forces and craziness that's going on at this time, because there's a lot of pulling here, there, and everywhere. There's a lot of things going on that are really there to just distract and scare people and to get people angry and in that low vibe. You really need to focus on what it is that you're wanting. It doesn't mean bury your head in the sand. It doesn't mean not know what's going on. It just means try not to get attached to it or too emotional about it. Just see it, see what's there, and then go back to your own practice and work on what it is you're wanting to manifest. So that would be my message for the new year for everybody. Okay, thank you everyone for coming, and we'll yep, start up with the lives every week again, like we've been doing. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week for another live. Blessed be.